The halls of Washington, D.C. were alive with murmurs and secret meetings. The city, built on backroom deals and political alliances, was now centered on one man, J.D. Vance. Vance, a senator with a growing reputation for defying the establishment, was about to make a move that could either solidify his legacy or end his career. Late at night, in a dimly lit room, the most powerful Republican senators sat across from him. J.D., listen to us. We know you want to be a leader, but this move, it's suicide. Vance leaned forward, his piercing gaze meeting that of the veteran senator speaking to him. If leadership means staying silent while the people who elected me suffer, then I want no part of it. Silence. The oldest senator in the room exhaled, shaking his head. Washington doesn't work that way. Vance smirked. Maybe it's time for Washington to change. That night, his fate was sealed. By morning, the entire political landscape would be turned upside down. By sunrise, the headlines had erupted. J.D. Vance breaks party ranks. Political suicide? Vance's decision shocks Washington? Betrayal or brilliance? J.D. Vance takes a stand. Social media became a battleground. J.D. Vance is the only one fighting for real Americans. This guy just threw away his career. What a joke. But the biggest blow came from within his own party. Later that afternoon, the Senate Majority Leader stood before the press. We disagree with Senator Vance's reckless decision. He has chosen his own path. We will choose ours. The political world froze. This was a death sentence. In Washington, being abandoned by your party meant being stripped of power, cut off from donors, and cast aside like yesterday's news. A journalist leaned toward Vance and whispered, "You're on your own now." Vance smirked, adjusting his tie. "I've been on my own my whole life." Washington didn't just punish traitors, it destroyed them. Every major news network was discussing Vance's decision. One CNN analyst scoffed, "Vance just made the biggest mistake of his career." Over on Fox News, another commentator said, "Courageous or foolish? Only time will tell." But something unexpected happened. New polling data from Ohio, Vance's home state, showed his approval ratings were climbing, plus 10% increase in public support. Washington had underestimated him. This wasn't just a rogue senator making a move. This was a movement. And now Washington was starting to get nervous. Now, the war was in full force. Vance was politically isolated, donors withdrew their money, colleagues stopped returning his calls, but instead of retreating, he doubled down. Vance hit the road, holding rallies across the country, speaking directly to the people. And then it happened. At a rally in Ohio, an elderly woman pushed through the crowd. Security tried to stop her, but Vance raised a hand. "Let her speak." The woman, voice trembling, grabbed the microphone. "J.D., don't stop. You're the only one fighting for us." Then the crowd erupted into a chant, "Stay strong, J.D." And just like that, the battle lines were redrawn. Washington wasn't just fighting a senator anymore, it was fighting a movement. The Senate was set to vote on whether to politically censure Vance, cutting off his influence. It was the ultimate Washington power move. If they succeeded, he would be politically neutered. If they failed, his power would only grow. The chamber was dead silent as the roll call began. Senators cast their votes one by one. The results flashed on the board, 50 to 50. The room exploded into chaos. It was a tie. Now the vice president would cast the deciding vote. The chamber waited. The vice president leaned into the microphone. "No." A mixture of gasps, cheers, and stunned silence filled the room. Vance had survived, but Washington had a long memory, and this fight was far from over. J.D. Vance had won, but in Washington, victory always came with consequences. Behind closed doors, powerful figures were already plotting. "We need to take him down before he gets stronger. We underestimated him. That won't happen again." Vance knew he was still in danger, but for now he had something far more valuable than power. A second chance, and he was going to use it, because this was only the beginning.